I hear virtually no one demanding of Hamas that it stop hiding behind civilians, that it lay down its arms, that it surrender. This is over tomorrow if Hamas does that. This would have been over a month ago, 6 weeks ago, if Hamas had done that. And how can it be that there are no demands made of the aggressor and only demands made of the victim?
Let's bring in our panel now to discuss this. Gabriel Noronha, Executive Director of Polaris National Security, former State Department Special Advisor on Iran, and also Abe Hamadeh, former Army Reserve Captain, Intelligence Officer, and current congressional candidate in Arizona. Welcome into you both. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Bianca.
As I watch Antony Blinken calling out these other countries for not demanding Hamas surrender, I just got to get your reaction, Gabriel. Isn't that somewhat utter hypocrisy when the Biden administration has been supporting Iran, that they're the ones, saying that others need to be condemning Hamas when they're funding both sides of this? I mean, what's your read when you see the Secretary of State saying that with straight face?
Look, I wish he had been saying that for the last 2.5 years when he was trying to get countries to relieve sanctions on Iran, when he was trying to relieve pressure on them. And here's one thing. He hasn't pushed for any vote at the UN Security Council to actually put any of this into practice. Meanwhile, we're seeing our allies like Canada, Australia, New Zealand flip on Israel and say that they support calls for this so-called ceasefire. That's not leadership. That's not U.S. diplomacy winning. There's a lot of rhetoric. Some of the rhetoric is good here, but it's not backed up by solid diplomatic actions. Israel's been the target of 67% of all UN resolutions this year, even though there's 0.1% of the world's population. That's evidence that the UN is failing, and frankly, the Biden administration isn't doing enough to fix this.
Abe, what's your take on it? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of diplomacy that has to go into this. You have, in Qatar, the head of Hamas, but now also the reaction that, it seems like there's more leverage. They're not going to release the 40 hostages. They said now they're turning down a truce, which, seems like a few weeks ago they wanted that.
Right. And this is where my biggest problem with Antony Blinken is, the Biden administration has been sending so many mixed signals, first delaying their invasion into Gaza, then trying to force some sort of negotiated truce. So this is the biggest problem. When the United States isn't having Israel's back, it allows these other countries and our allies to also start to question their support, and that becomes very dangerous. But Gabriel's right. The Biden administration, their appeasement to Iran has really caused all of this. So this is what's so scary moving forward right now is Israel is left isolated, and luckily the United States is still supporting Israel, but the Democrat Party and the Biden administration is still, trying to play both sides to this because they know they have a huge disadvantage because a lot of their primary voters and the general election voters in the Democrat Party is openly supporting Hamas, which is very scary. But, the United States position, Congress's position with Speaker Johnson has been great, and I believe Israel knows that the United States has its back, at least with the Republican Party.
Yes. And you mentioned, Abe, I mean, it is a problem for their voter base there. That's why they're pandering. That's why we hear more, calls for humanitarian aid, even if it may get right to the hands of Hamas to further more rockets. I do want to get reaction from Gabriel on the leader of the Houthi rebels threatening to target American warships operating the region. It was a day after the U.S. announced this, new international coalition to protect commercial vessels in the Red Sea. He says, quote, if Americans have a tendency to escalate further and involve themselves more or to commit foolishness by targeting our country or waging war against our country, we will not stand idly by. That's a direct threat. We have U.S. troops there. And there's, obviously concerns about the wider escalation. Gabriel.
It's a problem when our enemies are the ones threatening us and saying, if you act, here are the consequences. It should really be the reverse. We shouldn't just be protecting our ships. We should be taking out the threats to them, and that includes the Houthis. President Biden started his first act of foreign policy was to remove the Houthis from the foreign terrorist organization list. That was a reward to the Houthis that has still been met just by more violence, more threats. The results are pretty predictable. And so what we need here is a reset, and that includes taking out the missile sites, taking out the top commanders of this terror group. That's how you get the threats to stop.